The political war over the electoral roll revision ahead of the Bihar Assembly elections has reached the Supreme Court. The Mahagathbandhan, led by RJD's Tejashwi Yadav, has moved the apex court, challenging the Election Commission's exercise, alleging that the process is rushed and will strip citizens of their voting rights.
हम मांग करते हैं कि आयोग जनता की अपेक्षाओं, कानूनी प्रक्रिया और लोकतांत्रिक गरिमा को ध्यान में रखते हुए अपनी नीति बिल्कुल स्पष्ट करे और हमारा ये मांग है कि इस काम को ही रोक दिया जाए, चुनाव के बाद जो है इस काम को जारी किया जाए.
It's an exercise to exclude large number of people from backward communities, EBCs, Dalits and minorities. I mean, if that be the intent, which I have said, it's an elite kind of coup against the subalterns of Bihar and possibly from Bihar in other states.
The Trinamool Congress has also approached the court.
আর এটা বিহার বাংলাকেই এটাকে বাংলার যে আমাদের নির্বাচন আছে 26-এ সেটা কিভাবে বিজেপিকে সাহায্য করে বাংলার ভোটারদের ভোটাধিকার কেড়ে নেওয়া যায় এটাই হচ্ছে তাদের মূল.
MIM says if the EC drive was to eliminate any illegal migrants, why were they allowed to vote in the 2024 Lok Sabha polls?
आप इतने कम टाइम में एक्सरसाइज कैसे कर पाएंगे? बहुत टाइम कम है, माइग्रेशन होता है, अब क्या करेंगे वो लोग? वो गए इसलिए कि बिहार में कुछ है ही नहीं, कोई सरकार ने उनका रोजगार का इंतजाम किया ही नहीं, तो मजबूरी उनकी है, बाहर बैठे हैं. तो ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स हमने ECI के सामने रख के हमने कहा इसका तो आप सोल्यूशन निकालिए.
The BJP accused the opposition of trying to spread misinformation.
जो वोटर हैं उनके अंदर कोई भ्रम नहीं है, लेकिन राजद के लोग, कांग्रेस के लोग ये भ्रम पैदा कर रहे हैं, खासकर मुसलमानों को डरा रहे हैं कि आपका वोट काट दिया जाएगा. इस तरह की कोई बात नहीं है, किसी को भी डरने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. वोटर वेरिफिकेशन होगा, जो वैलिड वोटर होंगे वो वोट डालेंगे.
The top court has taken cognizance of the petitions. It is set to hear the matter on July 10th. EC has issued a clarification that the first phase of the special intensive revision has been completed, with no changes to existing rules, confirming that the process is underway smoothly. The EC said that the voters are required to submit documents by July 25th and that the draft rules will be issued on August 1st. Those listed can submit missing documents during the correction window. With just months left for the Bihar polls, all eyes are now on the Supreme Court. Will the apex court find merit in the pleas or will it uphold the EC revision? Bureau Report, India Today.
So, viewers, well, the top court of the country is going to hear the petition, which will be heard by the Supreme Court on the coming Thursday. But as you've seen over the past 10 days to at least 2 weeks, a massive political war is brewing on the sidelines. I want to take that and introduce our panelists right now to you. Shehzad Poonawalla, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party joins us. So does Mahima Singh, National Spokesperson, Congress. Amitabh Tiwari, Election Analyst. O.P. Rawat, former Chief Election Commissioner of India. I'd like to begin with Amitabh Tiwari. And Amitabh Tiwari, you know, the dichotomy lies somewhere which, if you actually look, you know, the top court is going to listen into the pleas coming in on this Thursday. But there is a quandary, and the dichotomy is this. Because if you look at the Form 16, Mr. Tiwari, or Form 6, I beg your pardon, of the Election Commission website, which a new voter needs to enroll onto when he wants to vote. You need exactly 3 things. 1, you need to be an adult, you need to give proof of that, and that comes through the Aadhaar. Number 2, you have to give proof of residence, and that you give through Aadhaar that you live in this particular constituency. Number 3, that you're a citizen of India. For that, no actual proof is given or is needed. You just state where you live and where you work. These are the 3 benchmarks that you need to prove if you want to enlist as a new voter in this country, and this continues to be so standing today as per form number 6 that you fill on the EC website. Having said that, Amitabh Tiwari, when you look at the revision that is taking place in Bihar of the voter rolls, the kind of documentation that they are being asked of, especially when it comes down to prove that you're a citizen of this country and have been living in Bihar. You know, they don't two quite match up.
Yeah, so essentially the objective of any SIR, special intensive revision, is to ensure that all eligible citizens are included in the list and no ineligible citizen is included. And the second is that complete transparency for addition and deletion, because booth agents are involved. Now, you need three things to be a voter, a new voter, as you said: citizenship, attained the age of 80, and ordinarily residing in the polling booth or the constituency where you wish to be enrolled as a voter. Now, incidentally, the Form 6, which is required to be filled to become a new voter, does not ask for any citizenship document. It just asks a declaration: I hereby declare that I am a citizen of India, and for 18 years of age, attainment and address proof, Aadhaar can be given as a proof. So in that entire document, Aadhaar is mentioned 6 times, citizen is mentioned twice. So if that is the case, what it seems is that for enrollment of new voters, there is a lower benchmark, because there is always a pressure on ECI and other bodies to have as many voters as enrolled, correct? But while there is a special intensive revision, there is a bigger check wherein a citizenship document is being asked, those 11 documents, correct? So now, if this is the case, then we need to tighten inclusion of voters at the Form 6 level itself, correct? Suppose there are X number of voters, we find out, who are eligible to vote and are in that list. But how did they get a voter list? How did they get added to the voter list? It is because we are not asking for citizenship document when we are asking them to fill Form 6.
And that's where the dichotomy lies, Shehzad Poonawalla, because yes, the top court of the country is yet to hear the matter, and we look at Thursday on that. B, there is an entire political storm brewing on the sidelines, but that is where the crux of the issue is, Shehzad Poonawalla. Number one, you want to enlist as a new voter in this country, you can do so with what we just detailed on Form 6. There's 3 issues that you have to address, and none of it require any documentation where you have to submit that you're a citizen of this country. Strangely, when revision takes place in Bihar, suddenly you're asked to give proof of citizenship, which you're not asked in the first place in Form 6 of the EC. So, isn't it ironic, Shehzad Poonawalla?
Let me not convince you with my own arguments, Preeti. Let me convince you with some arguments made by an organization that you will have more faith in. 7th of July, India Today's deputy editor has written a piece. His name is Yudhajit Shankar Das. I'm sure you know him. Voter roll revision is legal, moral and essential. And in fact, he has gone on to explain in detail as to how this Form 6, which has been, by the way, a part and parcel from the 1960s, and particularly after 2010, these documents have been required. He has explained the 3 categories of voters. There are the pre-2003 voters, which are about 60% of the 8 crore, 7.9 crore voters, which constitute about 5 crore voters, who don't need to submit any documentation. Then there are voters who are born between 87 to 2004, and both these dates have not been included by Modi. It's been included because of the changes we made in the Citizenship Act. They have to provide 1 document at least from the 11 documents that have been prescribed. So there is nothing new, or there is nothing unheard of that is being done right now. Second aspect is that it's being done in a haste, which is Asaduddin Owaisi's and Congress's and RJD's allegation. The 2003 exercise took place in an overall period of 90 days, and if you see just the period of putting out the documents and taking them back, it was 30 days. Today the same exercise is being done in 31 days, and overall the period is 97 days. It's being conducted by about 1 lakh BLOs and 4 lakh volunteers. About 8 crore people have to be covered. That means about 10 to 15 households per day by each individual, even if you assume 50% people are working very hard and with integrity. So it's not an unheard of exercise. Having said that, let me make 2 or 3 important points here. You know, the Congress party is saying that there will be mass deletions of names of people. In Maharashtra, they were saying that why the mass addition of names took place. Now they are saying mass deletion will take place. But Preeti, here is the biggest irony. In the Telangana elections of 2018, the Congress party insisted on the election commission that 70 lakh voters' names need to be deleted. Here is Abhishek Manu Singhvi's press conference on that. And then in the 2023 elections, which they won, 22 lakh voters after a similar exercise were deleted. And guess
So your
who
time
was
is up.
celebrating
I'll
it?
circle back
The
to you,
Congress
Shehzad Poonawalla,
party.
after 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes are up. I want to cut across right now, but Shehzad Poonawalla, nobody's questioned the legality of it, right? The question is on the morality of it, and that will be addressed by the court in days to come, exactly 3 days to come. And where the Form 6 is concerned, till now, till this morning, we've reconfirmed that all you need are those 3 submissions that we detailed, and for number 3, you do not need any proof of citizenship. Mahima Singh, there's a point that Shehzad Poonawalla also made, and that is credence. You know, we've seen a number of elections go by where at times it has been said by your very party that one needs to relook at the voter list. What's so wrong in doing so? It's something that has been in the offing for long. You can maybe question the timing of it because it happens just about 3 months before elections, at a time where, there are in the monsoon season, which makes it that more difficult. But ultimately, the tenet of it is not really wrong, Mahima Singh, is it?
Jai Hind, Preeti, first of all, let me just say that the country has become very aware that the BJP government and Mr. Modi like to run this country like some reality show. And now the Election Commission of India has become a party to it, unfortunately. This reality show culture was all right for the entertainment industry. But when it comes to democracy and running a healthy democracy, I fear it is a very dangerous practice. A healthy democracy's spinal cord, Preeti, as you and I and everybody on this show and beyond know, is free and fair elections. And the very process has been jeopardized completely. Yes, the BJP spokesperson has pointed out rightly that exactly 1 month ago, Honorable Leader of Opposition wrote an article and raised very critical questions in it. And yes, he raised questions on Maharashtra elections and on how the voters were added. But we are talking about Modi's maneuvers which know no bounds. You see, these are the people who created the Assam model, the Assam playbook. The CAA, NRC, right in the teeth of public protests. So here we are questioning. You have asked me whether the very tenet, is moral, ethical, legal, or not. And the courts are set to decide it. But let me just say, Preeti, the ECI is playing hide and seek with the voters now. We saw how in 2024, the level playing field was disrupted by Modi's maneuvers. And now what we are seeing is that the level playing field for the voters are being disrupted. And how? You see this disenfranchisement drive, Preeti, this vote bandi, if I may reiterate what Mr. Jairam Ramesh has been saying, this government that was capable of note bandi has now come to vote bandi, is wrong for so many reasons. Let me cite just a few of them.
The time is up. You can save yourself the next time I come to you for 2 minutes. Your time has run out. I want to bring in O.P. Rawat, former Chief Election Commission, into this conversation. Mr. Rawat, it's for the top court to decide the merits or whatever the top court sees in terms of submissions in the petitions that are against the revision of the voter rolls. But having said that, Mr. Rawat, for you to reflect, the fact is between October 2024 and January 2025, there has been what is usually considered by the EC a waterproof revision of voter rolls. It's already happened. It was something that was sealed and accepted by the Election Commission. What could be the reason for a sudden revision again when that entire exercise was carried out and sealed in January this year itself?
Because the January exercise was with reference to 1st January. All those people who become 18 years of age on 1st January, they are included. And elections are being held almost in November. So there is mandate to Election Commission that if elections are being held in November, then all those who qualify on 1st October, becoming 18 years of age, they have to be added, and for that a revision is required. Only thing is that it could be summary revision or intensive revision. Now, choosing intensive revision would mean that instead of just adding, there are other things also on the agenda. So that is the only difference. Another thing is ADR's petition to the Supreme Court. They have raised this issue that the presumption of EC is that 2003 electoral people, they are citizens. That means that logically remaining are not citizens and they have to prove their citizenship. Now that becomes a very difficult thing for election commission themselves, that draft roll cannot be published without these people submitting their forms. And therefore that advertisement on Sunday said that you can submit your forms even without any document, so that the draft roll will have all these names. They will not be out of the roll. Now, only problem will start when after the draft roll, during claims and objections, if these people fail to submit the required proof of citizenship, then in final published roll, their name may not be there. After that, the appeal time is there. But whether that appealing time will be enough to decide their appeal before the elections, that is the moot point.
All right, sir. I'm going to also come back to you because what's interesting to note is you're saying that it was 9 months before elections. One looks at the summary revision that took place during Maharashtra and let's say the state of Haryana, because those were the last two, or Delhi, the 3 elections that were. There was enough time given between an election and that summary revision. So to happen 3 months right before an election in Bihar, to happen in the months of monsoon, which makes it that much difficult. Also at a time where can one really go back where grievances are concerned, that window is really short. So just giving, an example of the last 3 states. So there was a fair amount of time given. I'll come back to you, Mr. Rawat, on the question that can EC actually conduct an intensive exercise like this in just about 3 months of time. But Amitabh Tiwari, I want to bring you in on this because it's become politically, so controversial. Now that you have various sects which come in from Bihar claiming that they will be what Congress calls it, vote bandi, or what Tejashwi Yadav also calls it, taking away the right which is democratically given.
See, clearly there is a complete lack of trust deficit, or a trust deficit between the opposition and the government now. Correct? And this has been there since the days of Maharashtra results, particularly wherein the opposition has alleged that the election was rigged by the Election Commission of India. So there is complete breakdown now. Even in this case, it seems that the Election Commission did not consult all the political parties or did not inform all the political parties in advance before this SIR was announced. Whether it is legally mandated to do so or not, I'm not that sure, but as a goodwill gesture, it could have done that. Now, the ball is in the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has to decide, because legally, as you said, it is Election Commission has the mandate to do this. Now, whether procedurally 30 days or 60 days or the time which the Election Commission has given, whether that is sufficient enough to carry out this exercise, and whether, as O.P. Rawat sir himself said, whether after the name has been deleted, whether the time remaining is sufficient for appeals, etc. Correct? So, as per a survey also by CSDS in 2024, the trust which the people have with the Election Commission seems to have declined. Correct? So the Election Commission also, because of some of the confusing messages which it has been giving, even in this SIR exercise, first it came out with something, then there was a paper ad, then again it came out with a clarification, is also adding to all this chaos. And since the elections in India are considered as a barometer of democracy and are regarded very well across the world, it is very, very important for the ECI to come out clearly and address these issues once and for all.
Well, you're right there. There are certain issues that are sticking right now that need to be answered. And I want to bring you in, Shehzad. You wanted to also put your point forward. And also, let me add a line to it. Where the distrust is possibly emanating from, Shehzad. When this revision exercise was carried out in the state of Maharashtra, there were 3 months gap after the exercise concluded and for elections to take place, number one. Number two, at that point of time, Shehzad, 5.38 lakhs names were deleted, while 27.96 lakh new names were added in Maharashtra. Now, those 27.96 lakh new voters were added, Shehzad, on the basis of the 3 points that we discussed, and they did not include, any documentation to prove that you were a citizen of India to vote in Maharashtra. So I'm just putting out the dichotomy of what we discussed earlier.
Let me address the 3 or 4 points that have been made, and starting with the point Amitabh Tiwari was making. Amitabh ji, there will always be trust deficit when the approach is not of EC but of CC. CC means conditional commitment, which means that if I win an election in Telangana demanding deletion of names, and when the EVMs are used there, I accept it. But I accept it in Karnataka, I accept it in Himachal Pradesh, I accept it in Jammu, Kashmir and Jharkhand, but I question it in Maharashtra and Haryana. So when you have conditional commitment rather than believing in the EC, then obviously there will be trust deficit. Preeti, trust deficit ka to ye haal hai. You started by saying that the matter is going to Supreme Court. EVM matter went to Supreme Court 41 times. Ask the Congress spokesperson, does she believe EVM today? The 41st time the result has come from November 2024, where the Supreme Court has said that you can't say EVMs are good when we win and bad when we lose. Do they believe the Supreme Court of India? Forget Supreme Court of India. Do they believe Omar Abdullah, who chastises them and says that don't blame the ECI when you lose an election? Do they believe Kumari Selja? You covered Haryana polls so much, Preeti, you remember that time. Kumari Selja has not blamed EVM, she blamed Hooda. Do they believe Kumari Selja, Dalit leader? So if you have trust deficit, that is because you have conditional commitment. You put Parivar Tantra above Lok Tantra and Samvidhanik Tantra. Point number one. Point number two, now coming to Maharashtra exercise, which even Madam Mahima ji was referring. You know, I saw Mahima on the last debate she had with you at 7 p.m. about Maharashtra issue. At that time, she has quoted the number of voters added. I'm speaking about what she has said. 70 lakh plus voters, she has said. Preeti, you have given different figure. Rahul Gandhi on one date gave 1 crore figure, then one date he gave 70 lakh figure, then the letter and the article he has written.
The only figure I'm giving is the figure recorded with the EC.
Which figure was the figure? Please.
No, I'm telling you the figure I am giving is the one recorded with the EC. I don't know what either of them have said, so please let's stick to the one.
You are wrong.
It's in the EC website.
Madam, I'll tell you, because Madam, I'll tell you, the EC had responded to Rahul Gandhi in December 2024 via a 64-page notice. And that 64-page notice has quoted that the number of voters added between the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha were 48.8 lakhs. That is what the EC has given.
Well, then the EC needs to revise this website.
Between 2004, Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha. Let me just make my point. That is for the EC to decide. It's not for me to answer for them. Just
I'll give
let
you
me
20
give you one
seconds more.
insight.
Make your point.
2004, 2009, 2000. Yes, ma'am. I'll make it in that much time. 2004, 2009, 2014, between the Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha of Maharashtra, every election cycle, there has been an addition of 4 to 5% votes from the Lok Sabha to the Vidhan Sabha. That happened this time also.
Okay.
It was nothing unusual. Everybody in Maharashtra knows it. The matter went to the Mumbai High Court. But do they believe the Mumbai High Court?
So allow me to now move on to the other guest. Allow me to move on to the other guest. The question that I asked Shehzad, and I'll circle back to you, is not on whether it was correct or not. You know, that matter is in court and in contention on in the style with which the voters were added. My question is very clear. If you add X, Y, and Z numbers of voters in the last few elections on the basis of only 3 benchmarks, and one of them was clearly there was no proof asked for citizenship, you suddenly change the goalposts when it comes to the state of Bihar, that too 3 months before elections. And that too, if you go on the EC website, the Form 6 still only asks you for those 3 basic questions, and out of that, proof of citizenship is not to be given. So you can enroll as a new voter, but strangely you can't vote in Bihar. I'll come back to you, sir. I'll come back to you and you may address it then. But Mahima Singh, there is a point, you know, which the BJP is making consistently. You can't pick and choose on when voter list revision is okay and when it's not so okay. It was kosher in Karnataka, it was kosher in Telangana. I can belt out the figures right now, they're in front of me. If you believe the EC website, that's up to you. And you disbelieve it in certain states. How's that?
I will quote Mr. Pawan Kheda, who had in fact said after Karnataka elections, and that is what the Congress's stance has been in other states where we won also, that the BJP's condition would have been, they would have lost their deposits. You know, they've saved themselves by. So we do not trust the election commission process even there. We have questioned it even there. But what we are questioning in Maharashtra and what we are questioning now in SIR in Bihar, Preeti, the fundamental question is, these voters who voted for 2024 general elections are now being revised. You know, now they are being, now the election commission itself is suspicious of its own ways of conducting the election. So first of all, the election commission of India must tell the nation, are the results of 2024 to be trusted or not to be trusted? Now, let me just tell you, Preeti, the BJP spokesperson has made so many points. I want to come to them, but after making my points, if I have time, I'll then come to them. You see, Preeti, the Election Commission of India, like I said earlier, in a reality show you give tasks. Till June of 2025, there is no mention of any such exercise. Suddenly, ECI comes up with the exercise. There have been 4,000 plus stakeholder consultations. There have been consultations with political parties. In those also, rules have been tweaked. Now, the Election Commission of India says we will not meet full delegations. We will meet 2 representatives each delegation. That also we will decide whether they are recognizable or not, whether we find them trustworthy, authorized or not. So many changes have been made, and now the ECI comes up with this suspicious exercise. Now, the BJP spokesperson is very fond of making reels on his social media handle. The last time on one of your shows only, I guess, he probably made a reel where I was mentioning about the Second Amendment of the Constitution. He negated the 13 points and focused only on one point that he was aware of. I cannot help BJP's and its spokesperson's myopic view of facts and data. What I can help is, question the...
Ma'am, your time is up. I'll circle back to you. I'm going to come back to you in final comments. I want to go to Mr. O.P. Rawat once again, the former CEC. Mr. Rawat, the question I asked you earlier, when an election exercise of revision of voter list happens just about 3 months before an election, and so extensively that, at least in the recent past, we've never seen something like this, how difficult would it be for EC to actually go through redressal, which you also touched on earlier, if there are issues that people have?
Yeah, that is the main issue, because the last revision took place almost 1.5 to 2 years time remaining for election. So even if something wrong was done or somebody's name was deleted wrongly, there was plenty of time for appeal and their disposal. This time, final publication will be in first week of September. And time will be left only about 2 months. Now, that seems to be a little too little for redressal of those appeals. That is the moot point before the Honorable Supreme Court.
Do you think, sir, that would be the point on which hinges the case of the multiple petitions that are there with the top court of the country today?
Yeah, because the earlier point that in draft roll, if Bihar CEO had not published that advertisement and not permitted people to sign the enumeration form and submit even without those documents which were required, 11 documents, then that means that draft roll will not have any deletion. All those who submit their forms, draft roll will have all their names, and therefore no cause for worry. But once they fail to submit the proof of citizenship out of those 11 documents, till the time claims and objections are decided, applications are decided, and final publication is ready, then their name will be deleted. Now, as soon as the final publication takes place, so whosoever gets name deleted will be at sea, because he will have to appeal, and then appeal has to be decided before the elections to make sure that no eligible voter is left behind, and no eligible voter is out of the electoral roll for polling.
Fair point, sir. I want to go back to Amitabh Tiwari. And Amitabh Tiwari, this is a genuine concern because, I was just talking to a few people, especially the ones, forget about Bihar, anywhere across the country. The younger lot actually only have their Aadhaar. And even if you're looking at redressal, you've lost your chance to vote.
No, see, essentially, the Election Commission will have to see that no eligible voter is left out. For that, does it have the time, as O.P. Rawat sir has also mentioned, and you have mentioned, because we have just now three to 4 months before the elections. Also, if the objective is that we need to weed out illegal migrants or illegal voters from the electoral list, illegal immigration or migration is a very big issue, and an SIR alone cannot solve this problem, because not only the illegal migrants should be having a right to vote in our democratic process, they are also using up our resources, taking up the jobs of our youth. So how do we tackle the issue of illegal migration? It's not just through an SIR, correct? We need to have something else, more concrete measures. And again, I would come to the point that it is still, I believe, that the Form 6 is not asking for a citizenship document, and you are asking for tougher checks when you are doing the SIR.
But,
if I am wrong, please let me give you a point.
but you know, Mr. Poonawalla doesn't want to believe that or address that. But Mr. Poonawalla, you have 1 minute, sir. Please make your final submission.
I'm actually waiting for my turn.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
May
I'm
I
talking
come in
about
and address
what
that
Mr.
question,
Tiwari
if
said.
you
That
don't
he said it very clearly that the Form 6 doesn't ask you. So it's
I'm coming
a
to
little insane that you're asking for
I'm
new
coming to
voters
that.
to register. Go ahead, sir. Make your point. Yes, all yours.
Preeti, let me address the question. First of all, let me just put it on record that the Congress spokesperson hasn't addressed the hypocrisy they showed towards the Election Commission during different results, and they haven't really answered about how the integrity of the ECI was sparkling when we had Naveen Chawla, MS Gill, who became a minister, and TN Session, who went and contested on a Congress ticket. Leave that aside now. Let's come to today's issue on Form 6. Between the 1960s and 2000s, between these 40 years, the Form 6 essentially was taken physically, and at that time there was a self-declaration of citizenship. By the way, only citizens can vote. That's what the constitution mandates. As much as some people may want Rohingyas to vote, Bangladeshis to vote, that can't happen. Only citizens of India can vote. They are eligible to vote. That's Article 324. Now Form 6 establishes that. Earlier, when we didn't have the NVSP system, which was introduced, by the way, by the Congress party, we used to rely on a self-declaration system. Ever since we've introduced the NVSP system, we have tightened the norms for rigorous ensuring that there is proof of the citizenship. And therefore, this is a progressive process that the Election Commission has adopted right from 2010 to take furnished proof of citizenship because only
Mr.
a
Poonawalla,
citizen can
time
vote.
is up.
Are you against citizens voting and you want Rohingyas to vote?
Okay, I want to give that 1 minute right now to the Congress spokesperson. Your time begins now. Amitabh Tiwari is smiling. Amitabh Tiwari, that jibe was intended for you, not me. So, 1 minute. Go ahead, Mahima Singh. Make your pitch.
So, Preeti, you see, about the ECI, I clearly answered. If the BJP spokesperson has not paid attention, again, that's not my problem. But let me very categorically state and question the BJP spokesperson in turn, which he won't be able to answer on your show now. About our faith in SCI, Supreme Court of India. Yes, we do have complete faith in the Supreme Court of India, which declared the electoral bonds unconstitutional, imposed on this democracy by your government in 2017. Now, does the BJP spokesperson have faith and will agree to that or not? He must say. And to make my final submission, Preeti, let me just say that you see the new this enumeration form that has been brought about by the Election Commission of India to make the wrongs right. Let the Election Commission of India extend the deadline if it must continue with this exercise. Tomorrow, if the courts do uphold it, instead of scrapping it like we have petitioned, in that case, the ECI must make them aware, must extend the deadline, must ensure that they reach each voter.
Time's up, ma'am. Time's up. I have breaking news, but I want to quickly give in. Ma'am, give me 1 minute. I want to quickly give in 30 seconds to Mr. O.P. Rawat on what he thinks would be the right way to go about this, Mr. Rawat, so somebody who's chaired the CAC.
Right way will be that all those people who fail to submit these documents, even during claims and objections, they should be adjudicated very expeditiously so that before election, their case is finally decided based on the evidence available.
Fair point. 30 seconds, Amitabh Tiwari. Fireworks already on. Things will only get worse. Let's see what the top court has to say.
Yeah, essentially, we have to see now what the top court says. I think legality-wise, ECI has the mandate to do this. It's only an operational issue, and whether the time which is given is sufficient or not to carry out such a mammoth exercise.
Okay, Shehzad, you really want to come in? So yes, 20 seconds. Nobody's contending with
allow
legal,
me
but the
also,
moral dilemma. I will, ma'am. Yes,
well.
all of you will get it. Legal, there's no issue with that. Moral dilemma continues. 30 seconds, sir. Not 30, 20 seconds, sir.
Preeti, I'm a firm believer that anything that is legal and constitutional inherently is moral, and therefore you can't say that legal and constitutional is immoral. Having said that, I would second what Mr. Rawat has said, that while we go for a progressive approach towards a proof-based citizenship so that the voters can vote and only voters who are citizens vote, there must be speedy decision-making by the ERO and the CEO and even by judiciary to ensure that nobody's right is taken away. We are absolutely for that.
20 seconds, Mahima Singh.
In fact, the Congress wants people's names deleted.
Okay, allow me to bring in the Congress. 20 seconds, Mahima Singh, exactly the time.
The BJP spokesperson clearly did not want to agree with the Supreme Court. Now, let me just go ahead and say that the new enumeration form that the Election Commission of India has brought, Preeti, is illegal, immoral, because it puts the onus of proof on the voter. The voter who's working somewhere, in another state, are migrants,
Ma'am,
are immigrants.
like you said, your party has supreme faith in the Supreme Court. Let's wait. It's going to be heard on this Thursday itself, the matter concerned. We're going to leave it at that. And